This is a guy here that knows a crap ton about college football. West Virginia fan, Big 12 guy, has worked a lot with Mark Rogers and company. Joey, what's up, buddy?
Hey man, what's going on, Ballard?
Dude, I,
All
I
right.
know I've seen you recently in the comments. I don't. So this is something that is, I guess, been in the works for a while. I have heard of this. So this is basically, remember when NIL first came about, and we said we need someone in charge of it. this is
Right.
this is that someone. This is who's going to
Yeah.
govern it. This is who's working on regulating everything. I haven't looked too far into. I have heard of this. I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page here. But yeah, okay. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit, man, because you mentioned like how do you know how to pay a right tackle or who gets what amount of money for based
Right.
on where you play, what you play, stuff like
I
that.
mean, I couldn't
So
imagine. I couldn't
let's
imagine
expand.
being a coach. I couldn't imagine being
Yeah,
a coach or running an NIL program at a university, and all of a sudden you've got a very good right tackle or left tackle or whatever that's
yeah,
there, and you know that left tackle is going to make a lot of money, especially if he's good. But you don't know what he's been offered from other schools. You don't know what the other schools are paying. So you've got to be competitive. It don't matter what conference you're in. West Virginia's got to compete with Alabama and Ohio State and
yeah.
NIL, where they're not going to get the players, right? So you have to compete
And
with
that's what
everybody. It doesn't matter
that's
really what
what makes
conference
it
you're in.
so. Yeah, and I think that's what makes it so hard in the NIL era is in the NFL. You could look up 9 times out of 10 almost any contract, veteran, rookie, whoever. You could
Right,
find that on freaking Wikipedia. You can't
right.
tell me what you like. We have no idea how much Austin Mack or Keelan Russell at Alabama are going to be making this year on NIL deals. They don't tell you
No,
that. And look, I'm not saying they should or shouldn't. If they want to keep it confidential, that's fine. But it does kind of, depending on where you are in college football and who you are as a coach and stuff, like just because it's confidential information, I could see where you're a coach at a different school and you're trying to win in this game, but you don't know how much anyone's getting paid elsewhere. So, like, you don't know how much to give them or how much is too low, too high, type of stuff.
yeah. You know, the good old days, hey, it's paying for your education. That's why you're playing football for
Right.
school. You're getting an education, a free education. And you're getting free food and free dorms and free everything. You ain't paying for
Yeah,
shit. And plus, there's a bag man that's going to be coming by and visiting you every week, bringing you a
of
couple of
course.
$1,000. You know, and that was really the life. That was the way it should have been, and stuff. But you know, and that was good. I loved college football then. This
Yeah.
now, man, this is so much NFL. I just can't stand it anymore because I don't like the NFL for that reason. I mean, the players are
Right.
just way overplayed, tremendously overplayed. I was looking today at Geno Smith's new Jet contract, $19.5 million a year. I mean,
I
come
did see
on.
that. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's a lot of
I
friggin'
mean,
money.
it
I mean,
look, if you want to pay them a lot of money, that's fine. I get it. What kills me with the payment and not even just the NFL. I mean, you got like NHL. It's all sports, MLB, NBA, and now you have it going with
yeah,
college athletic. Here's the thing: the contracts we give out in sports today. There are doctors that need that money, lawyer. Look. As much as we love sports over here, and I'm one of them to admit it, there are more important professions out there that need that kind of
yeah.
money and that deserve that
Nurses,
kind of money.
nurses
You
need it.
know?
Nurses and
Oh hell yeah,
CNAs need it. You know,
yeah,
CNAs need it. I mean, they're I know CNAs make no money. They make crap, and they're in there doing
yeah.
all kinds of stuff for the patients. You know, they're like I think they're top three, and they might be back up to number one recruiting class in B 12. We've signed a couple of big recruits again in the last couple of weeks. Last
Oh
time I
heck
looked, we
yeah,
were third. In the Big
Yeah.
12, we were third and 18th in the country, I believe, or 20th
I'm
in the
gonna kind of
country. I
pull
don't
it up.
remember.
I'm curious where y'all
Pull it up
sit.
real quick and see.
Yeah, let's do it. While I'm
Um,
pulling this up, I do want to ask about something because I don't remember the last time you were on here or anything. But if you go back a year ago, you know, and look, I'm not here to point and blame. I don't know who canceled what, but what happened to our teams getting together for a home and home? Was that on West Virginia's
y'all went to nine.
cancellation or
Y'all
was
went to
that ours?
9 conference games. Y'all went to 9 conference
And we
games in the
had to get
SEC.
and yeah, I know that, but like, why the hell are we playing East Carolina, dude? Like this has got
Would you
nerve
rather?
to
Would
me.
you? Because it made sense for East
Right.
Carolina. That's an easy game. You'll win that game, no problem. Where West
Yeah,
Virginia might be, hey, there's a chance of a loss there. There's no
that's
chance of a
true.
loss on East Carolina. That's why they did. Whenever
Yeah.
the Big 12 went to 9 conference games, we had somebody scheduled a big school, Florida State, maybe. I think it was maybe Florida State we had scheduled, and we
I
canceled
think I
that
saw
game.
that. But you asked me to pull up the 2027 class for West Virginia. They currently sit
26,
28th in the country.
26,
Red Tribe. Oh,
26.
26. Okay, okay, I got you.
Yeah, it's just class.
Doing good in 27 though. Doing pretty good so far.
Yeah,
Rich Rod back in the picture. Now you guys finished last year 36. Um, 36 enrollees, by the way. So let's talk about this, man. I want your thoughts and where you stand maybe going into the season and just kind of where things are right now with this program and obviously recruiting and stuff as we got it pulled up.
well, I'm high on this season. I really am. I'm really excited about this season. But at the same time, uh, we got to realize it's year two.
Yeah.
And once again, we've had to replace our roster because when Rich Rodriguez came in last year, he had to grab 83 or 84 players
Hmm.
from the portal just to play that year, to get us through. One thing came out of it was Scotty Fox, our quarterback. He was a really good quarterback last year. I think he's a freshman, or it might have been sophomore last year. But anyway, he's back, obviously, but we've also hit the portal for quarterbacks,
Right.
and we've got a couple of really good ones. But yeah, this class is supposed to be shaping up pretty good. I've honestly not been into it too much, but I do know that um, we are in the top of the Big 12 and
Yeah.
top in the top 25 in the nation. But a lot of these guys just have 1 year left, so it's just like they're a one and done. So we've got some experience, but we've also got some guys that are really good that have a few years left. So, Rich Rod's trying to build something, and you can see where he's building the pieces and filling in. But at the same time, as long as you're grabbing 50, 60, 70 players out of the portal, or you're recruiting that many, and you've got a new team again this year, I don't know how many players we have, new ones, but it's a lot. I mean, a whole lot. It's 55, 60 new players, maybe more. So that's going to create a problem because all of a sudden that offensive line's not worked together for a couple of years. That offensive
Right.
line is very important. There's got to be a lot of talking, and they got to know what they're doing. And so that's where you kind of screw up as a team when you take on a lot of new players, especially us because we took on some line, both offense and defense. So that 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 camaraderie isn't there. That understanding of where you are supposed to be. So
Hmm.
I know there's a lot of people really high on West Virginia, and there are a lot of people are saying it's going to be 10 or 11 wins this year. No, it's not. I think we're going to struggle to even get to 8. And I'm not even going to say we're going to get 8. I'm going to say we'll get 7 wins, maybe 8. If we get 8, it's a Rich Rod effect. It's just Rich Rod. because we got so many new players. That's the only reason. Now, if these players had been in West Virginia last year, and we're coming back with, hey, maybe 10 or 12 recruits and stuff and filling in, okay, that'd be
Mhm.
fantastic. I think we have a really good shot of even winning the Big 12 because we've got such a good team. But, it's like, at Alabama, if you got a team that's got a lot of freshmen and sophomores playing, you don't win too many games. Pac-Man
And think
Jones,
about some of
Big
those guys
Henry.
that have. Think about some of those guys you just mentioned. Went on to have excellent NFL careers. I mean, y'all were a factory, dude.
Yeah, yeah, we were. We were a factory. We were really good. And I'm thinking, Rich Rod's going to get us back there. Especially look at some of
Yeah,
these recruits he's signing. Some of these 4-star recruits he's getting really high 4 stars. Some of them should be 5-star.
yeah.
And
What stands out with this year's previous class, the 2025 class? He comes in, he takes over. Um, I mean, you get a safety, Matt Sage, Kevin Brown's an offensive tackle. You got a quarterback at Jaron Hewley, a running back from Georgia. By the way, your quarterback's from Palm Beach. I mean, you know what I love seeing is when teams that have struggled, such as like a West Virginia, not like historically struggled, but just like,
5
hey,
years,
it's been a minute.
6 years,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
2018 was the last time we were anything.
right. But what's so cool is when a team like this, like West Virginia, or whoever, you know, goes across the map, goes out of state. You're getting guys out of Georgia, Florida, Pennsylvania. You're going
California.
all over the
We got
map.
we got our
Yeah,
first player out of the state of Oregon the other day. We got somebody
oh
from
yeah,
Oregon,
that's awesome.
Washington, state of Washington, and Oregon, California, Texas. We're
Yeah,
recruiting nationwide, but we really got a big old footprint in Florida again. See, that's where we
yeah,
was
that's true.
before. We were a big footprint in Florida. That's where we got Geno Smith and Stedman Bailey from. They
Oh
used
yeah,
to play right there in Florida and stuff, and they played on the same team. And we recruited them both, and they both ended up going to the NFL, and both had big careers until Stedman Bailey got shot. But
you got a lot of guys out of Kansas, by the way. I'm seeing like
yeah,
3 or 4. That's cool.
yeah, we've got some good players. So uh, I really like um, what Rich Rod is doing. You know, one thing that had happened in West Virginia when Don Nealon took
Uh
us
huh.
over back in 1980, when Don Nealon took over this football team, we were okay. Signetti uh, um, was our coach. Of course, we all know that name Signetti from Indiana, right? That's his son. His son's coaching Indiana. We had a
Oh,
chance
so
to get him at West
Kurt's
Virginia. We
dad,
had a chance to get him.
Kurt's
We had a
dad
chance to get him at
coached
West Virginia.
y'all.
We overlooked
Okay,
him. We we was going to. We could have hired Signetti. Uh, he wanted a job at West Virginia when we were talking about firing Neil Brown, and then Neil Brown turned around and went 8-4 and finished fourth in the Big 12, and they decided to give him another year. So they didn't hire anybody, but we figured he was going to be fired because Shane Lyons, the athletic director, was fired the year before. We figured Neil Brown's year was coming, but then Neil Brown went 8-4 and finished fourth in the Big 12.
his last year could have been y'all, but it ended up being Indiana. I got you. I'm not even
Yeah,
trying to
well,
troll.
that was
Listen,
2021. That was
think about Indiana
2021.
for a second. Indiana is like one of those historically bad all-time
Uh huh.
record programs, and then they got this coach, and he like took them to the promised land. But y'all were so close to getting Kurt Signetti, and like, I mean, it's not like you don't have the pieces to build somewhat of a competitive roster. I don't want to say a championship roster, but I mean, just to get competitive on a football field again, I think y'all have the pieces.
Oh yeah, we're competitive now. Last year we didn't have a good record, but if you look
Right.
at the games,
Where were y'all?
we were
Five
in
and
every
seven?
game. We were in
Yeah.
every game. So
Yeah.
every game was close. It was a nail biter. It was exciting, and stuff. We beat a couple of top 25 teams, but we lost to teams we shouldn't have never lost to. So there's just
Been there.
one of them things. So we ended up now this year our out of conference schedule. We got to play Virginia. Virginia
Yeah.
played the ACC for the ACC championship last year, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that game, and it's a neutral site game. It's in Charlotte. Uh,
Yeah.
I think it's in Charlotte. I
Virginia's
don't remember.
at it's the Panthers Stadium at Bank of America where the Carolina
Yeah,
Panthers play.
yeah,
Week 3.
yeah. So it's in Charlotte. Um, so West Virginia will fill over half of that stadium.
For sure.
They did during in 2018 when we played Tennessee there in that stadium. Tennessee filled up half, we filled up the other half. We sold out, and
Yeah.
Tennessee had half, and we had half. So the largest alumni base for West Virginia is in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's the largest alumni base for West Virginia because people live in West Virginia. They go to school at West University, and then they graduate and they move to North Carolina so they can get a job. So
Right.
the biggest fan base area is in Charlotte. Now you can even get down there around where Golden Voodoo lived, around Liberty, South Carolina. That's a huge fan basis for West Virginia. Spartanburg, South Carolina, huge fan base for West Virginia. You can go to bars and stuff, and they 99.9% of the time down south have West Virginia on the TV. We're a top 15 brand in the country. So like I can remember 1993, we were undefeated. Amos Zeroaway, famous Amos Zeroaway, was our running
Uh-huh.
back. Jake the Snake Kelchner was our quarterback. Everybody remembers Jake the Snake. Darren Studstill was our other quarterback. We had two quarterbacks that year. Played them both. In '93,
Yeah.
what was so crazy about that year, '93, we beat Miami, who was number 4 in the country. Then we later on, Boston College, who was number 6 or 7, beat Notre Dame, who was number 1, and we were like number 5. And when Boston College beat Notre Dame, we had to play Boston College the following week at
Did you
Boston College.
say was that what year did you say was that 93
'93,
or 83?
'93,
90.
'93.
Okay.
And
I'm
we
pulling
went
it
to
up.
Boston College and we beat Boston College. Now Boston College had just beat number 1 Notre Dame. We went up
Uh-huh.
there and beat Boston College.
Close
And
game
then
it looked like. Yeah.
and then we came back to go undefeated. We went undefeated, but at the end of the year, we didn't have a tie-in with the Orange Bowl. We were in the Big
Oh, for
East.
the
The
Natty?
Big East didn't have a tie-in with the Orange Bowl, and the
Yeah.
Orange Bowl was hosting the national championship. We couldn't
Yeah.
go. We were 11-0. We couldn't. We were number 1 in the coaches poll and number 2 in the AP poll, and couldn't play in the national championship because it was at the Orange Bowl. We didn't have a tie-in with them, so it ended up being Nebraska and Florida State. We had to play Florida. I don't remember what bowl, Cotton Bowl maybe. I don't even remember what bowl.
It
We
looks
had to
like
play
it
Florida,
says
Gator Bowl maybe,
it was the Sugar Bowl, it looks like. It was
Sugar
at the
Bowl.
Superdome
Yeah.
and y'all lost big time 41 to
Oh, we
7,
lost
but
big time. We didn't want to be there. We didn't want to play. We wanted to be in the
I've
national
been
championship.
there.
Well, think about it. You went undefeated. You worked your
David's been
ass
there.
off to go undefeated, and they turn
Oh,
you
hell yeah.
away to play the national championship because you don't have any
Well, how
tie-ins
many
because
here's
you're
the
a
thing.
conference.
Yeah. Well, and you're not the first team in history to be in that position though.
No,
But
no.
for West Virginia to and look, I'm looking at the Big East standings right here. Number 15 Miami, 13 Boston College, 22 Virginia Tech. I don't know if that's like end of the year type stuff or whatever,
Yeah,
but
that
it
would be the
seems
end of
like
the
there
year.
were 4 good. You had to have played all those teams
Yeah, we did.
and beat them. And it looks
And,
like you did because you were undefeated up until that Florida game. So
well,
I mean that's a pretty good
back then, the
resume.
Big East was strong. Syracuse was strong.
Oh yeah,
You know,
I remember when I wasn't around for it, but like I've heard about the days of like it was Pitt and Penn State in there, and
yeah,
I mean, it's been different teams, but yeah.
Yeah, back in the old, well, it was Beast of the East. It wasn't a
Yeah,
conference. It was just Beast of the East, and you would compete to see who the Beast of the East was. It was always either Pitt, Penn State, or West Virginia were the Beast
for
of the
sure.
East. It's always one of them three. And 99% of the time, it was Penn State. You know, it's how it was. You just couldn't beat Joe Ferdinand. You know, it was so good. And so Penn State was like a monster.
Yeah,
And Pitt was too back in the 80s and stuff. You know, Pitt was always like Beast of the East a lot. But West Virginia was Beast of the East quite a bit too. So, but yeah,
yeah.
and then the conference come along, the Big East Conference, and we joined it. Did you know the Big East Conference turned down Penn State?
They did. I
They
did
did.
not
A
hear
lot of people
that.
don't realize that, but the Big East Conference turned down Penn State. Sure
Okay.
did. And could you imagine if the Big East would have taken Penn State? All right, because we had Pitt, we would have had Penn State, we had West Virginia, we had Virginia Tech, who was big, we had Miami, who was huge. In the '80s,
Yeah,
Miami won every national championship. And they were constantly winning championships in the '80s and '90s. So,
yeah,
Miami was the Alabama of then,
yeah.
and stuff. So, and Penn State was the Ohio State of then. So, we just imagine if they were taking Penn State and then they had Miami. Then you had in there Virginia Tech, the Pitts, the West Virginia, the Syracuse, and the Boston colleges at the time that were really, really good at that time. That was cool. Would have been the absolute strongest conference, and that conference might have done something. It might
Oh, for
have
sure.
actually done something, But as they didn't take Penn State, and there just wasn't good leadership in the Big East. There just wasn't good leadership at all, and
Oh, as far as
it just
like
slowly fell
commissioners and
apart.
stuff.
Right, and commissioners.
Yeah,
Oh, it
I
was
got.
horrible. We had horrible leadership, and
Yeah,
West Virginia when they left the Big East and joined the Big 12. The Big East, that was the end of the Big East. Yeah, that just destroyed it. And they tried to sue West Virginia and say you had to pay them. You couldn't just leave. You had to pay all this money. Because if you remember, we announced it at the bowl game
uh
in
huh.
the Orange Bowl. We announced it in the Orange Bowl in 2011 against Clemson. We announced Oliver Luck, our athletic director, said West Virginia will be playing in the Big 12 next year,
Then
regardless.
y'all joined.
And we joined the Big 12. And the
Yeah,
Big East sued, and they lost their lawsuit because our argument was we didn't leave the Big East. The Big East left us. And we were able
yeah,
to prove that over the years, Virginia Tech, Boston College, Miami, all left and went to the ACC. You know, Pitt leaving, going to the ACC. Louisville leaving, going to the ACC. We was able to prove that the Big East was leaving us. We weren't living the Big East, but we were.
basically, which I'm sure West Virginia probably wasn't the only team that they did this to, but I mean, with the leadership and everything, I mean, they basically it looked like it's like they just gave you both middle fingers and said, "Go about it," you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, you're here, or you're stuck, and there's nothing you can do. Sort of like what the
Right?
ACC is doing right now to all their teams. They're here till 2036 or
Yeah,
37 or whatever it is. You can't do nothing about it,
yeah.
and they're just more or less
And
giving
it's
them two
like
middle fingers.
especially with well, I mean, it's all their teams, yes, but obviously the past couple years has been like, oh, what's Clemson and Florida State going to do? Well, they can't do anything right now. I mean, what
Right,
are you talking about?
right. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, Cody. College football, the conference championships the way if we go 24-team playoff. I think 24-team playoff is just ridiculous. I'm sorry. I've heard people talk about 64-team playoffs. Come on, guys. This is football. I want to watch a season and then I want to watch the playoffs. And that playoffs shouldn't be more than 3 games for each team and then maybe a championship game. Ever. So I'm thinking 16 team playoffs, I just don't see why that people would even want anything more than 16-team playoff. But it's still football. Football's football.
Absolutely.
And
Well, you're
um,
always welcome over here, man. I think you still got my number, man. Just reach out anytime you want to talk up some stuff, or if you
yeah,
ever got anything you want to just talk about, man. Just give me a call.
yeah, I was talking to Mark the other day, and I may go back and start doing some shows on the West Virginia channel on the Voice of College
Okay.
Football. And so, I don't know. We haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
But I may do it. But anyway, I appreciate you letting me come over here and talk for a little while. Cody, I appreciate you making some comments down there in the chat and giving me things to talk about. I appreciate you, Cody.